Hi everyone, I'm Meg. Welcome back, or indeed welcome to my channel if you're new. It's so lovely to have you all here. Grab a cup of tea. I've actually just finished this. I must confess that I've finished my coffee, holding up my empty mug for the intro of this video, and I've swapped over to an icy cold Vichy Catalan. If you know, you know. It is so hot in the UK today, and obviously as I'm filming, I've had to shut all of the windows and I've got filming lights on. So if you see a Sula emerging, that's why. I have got a feeling it's gonna get warm and a little sweaty up in here, but we're just gonna get through it together. So stay hydrated, make sure you've got some snacks and a beverage for this one, because I know I'm gonna yap in this video and it's gonna be a chatty one. So with that being said, let's just jump into it, because today's video is about my hair, but not really about my hair. So if you follow me elsewhere online, you might have seen that I cut my hair into a bob in April, and bobs are everywhere at the moment. I see French girl bob, old money girl bob, and it's like all the cool girls are getting bobs, and I wanted to get one too, but for very different reasons than purely aesthetic ones. I actually got a bob for my mental health. Let me explain. So let's cast the old fishing rod of time back to my high school years, teenage years. I think I was about 13-ish when this started. I essentially began this habit of picking my hair and picking my split ends. And what I mean by that is that I would pull sections and strands of my hair forward into my eyeline, literally examine every single strand of hair, and if there was a split end on any one of those individual strands of hair, I would get my nails and pull the split end out. And this feels so funny to be sitting here talking about, because it's something I did for such a long time, and I honestly always thought I was the only one who did it. And there are all different kinds of split ends, which I got very much familiar with. Off the top of my head, there's a baby split, there's a double Y, there's a tree, there's a feather, there's all these different kinds of split ends, and I became completely obsessed, like I said, with examining each and every strand and plucking out every single split end in my whole head of hair that I could possibly find at school, like during my lessons. And even as I'm saying this out loud, I know that a lot of people are going to be like, what in the world, that just sounds nuts. I actually filmed a quick clip of me doing the split end routine so that you've got a visual of what I was doing, because I know to a lot of people this is just going to be like completely alien and they might never have heard of anybody doing this before. I've always been blonde, and school uniform was like navy, dark trousers, dark skirt, and I would be able to see the split ends so well against the backdrop of my school uniform. So I would sit in lessons and just systematically go through and pull all of them out. And obviously this then started to affect schoolwork, like teachers noticed that I was doing this. I remember once being in a science lesson and a different teacher came into the classroom, and I was so engrossed in doing my split ends that I didn't realise she'd come to stand like right in front of my table, and she was just staring at me waiting for me to finish. And I was doing my split ends and I became aware that people were laughing, and I remember looking up and the teacher was right there in front of me being like, hello, Earthed Megan. And she said, does she do this every lesson? And my science teacher was like, yeah. And it definitely wasn't something that I got in trouble for. Like, I was never actively punished for picking my split ends, but I was getting repeatedly told off and told to like, stop doing that, stop staring at your hair, concentrate on the lesson, do your work. And I just found it harder and harder to stop doing it, but it's incredibly bad for your hair. I think what happens when you pull out the split end is that the split just travels like further up your hair shaft and makes your hair like more fragile and weak. And it even got to the point where I was getting these little grooves and like hard skin on my nails from where I was pinching the strands so much that it was then creating this hard skin on my thumb and forefinger, where I would just systematically like go through pulling them all out. And it became, I'm not joking, something over the years that I could do for up to like 5 or 6 hours a day, or even longer. It became where I couldn't watch TV without also doing it at the same time, and I would go through periods where it would get better, and then I would go through periods where it would get worse, and it ended up essentially being just like a very much all-encompassing thing that I would sit and do without even realizing it, like on autopilot. And then all of a sudden I would realize that like hours have gone by and I've lost them. I've just been sitting there doing this to my hair. So I would start to do things where I would like set an alarm on my phone. So if I started doing it, I would try and catch myself and be like, shit, I need to set an alarm on my phone for like half an hour so that I can do it, but not do it so much that it really affects my day. So I was already implementing things to try and control it. I truly don't know how common or uncommon this thing is, and I can imagine that to someone who's never had it before, they're like, if you're wasting so many hours of your day, why the fuck don't you just stop picking your hair? But if it was that easy, like, it wouldn't have been an issue for me. I really did try and stop. I then bought like professional hairdressing scissors because I realised I'm creating so much damage to my hair, and if I'm gonna do this, and I really couldn't stop doing it, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well be snipping out the split ends with hairdressing scissors rather than ripping them out. It wasn't even that it was less damaging, I think I just found it like more satisfying. However, I didn't really get any comfort or pleasure out of this habit that I was doing because I was getting told off at school. I was really super frustrated at the way it was affecting work as I got older, because this is something that carried on throughout the entirety of my teens and then like the entirety of my 20s and onwards as well. And I was really super frustrated, and it actually got to the point where I hated doing it, and actively, as I'd be doing it, I would be like, stop, stop, stop. But when something becomes obsessive and compulsive, it is just so hard through your own like sheer will to put a stop to it. So a few years ago, I started going to therapy for the first time. I was really struggling with my mental health and my relationship with alcohol, and I remember thinking, again, I'm desperate about this drinking problem that has started, and I think I need professional help for it. So I went to go and see a therapist, and she mentioned one day, have you noticed whenever you start to talk about something difficult, you begin to like absent-mindedly, I don't even think you know you're doing it, you start to like pull strands of your hair forward and you start to look at them. And she said, I can see it on your face that you're trying so hard to stay present and in the moment and talking to me and maintaining eye contact, but you really want the distraction of looking at your hair. And I was like, oh yeah, that's just this thing I've done for like a decade and a half now. I pull at my split ends. Really weird, but it's just a thing I've done like forever. And then in my next session, I feel like this is where it gets interesting, she said to me, have you ever heard of trichotillomania? And I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of trich. I have friends with trich, but I don't have that. Like, I don't pull my hair out. That's where people pull their eyebrows and their eyelashes and their hair out. And she said to me, and this was like the mic drop moment, you do pull your hair out, you just pull it from the ends, not the roots. I remember sitting there being like, clock it. Anyway, it literally stopped just as I was about to carry on with my video. But I am so thrilled in this moment to pretend to be Professor McGonagall and say, I've always wanted to use that spell, because I get to say the words. And now, a word from our sponsor. A little location change for a quick mention of Hairburst, because if I had a penny for every time someone has told me getting a bob is like a reset for your hair and the perfect opportunity to start taking really good care of it, and I'm like, trust me, I'm taking real good care of it. For so long, too long, the focus was on the picking and the damage that I was doing, whereas now it truly does feel like a fresh start, and I've built a very intentional routine with Hairburst. Let's start with the healthy hair vitamins first. I've gone through a few of these because I take them every single morning. They are absolutely part of my morning routine, and I always think visuals are like the best proof. So here is my hair in April when I first got my bob cut, and here it is a couple of months later. And it's very much like a shoulder length Hannah Wells haircut. I truly didn't even feel like I had a bob anymore. I just felt like I had shoulder length hair, and I've already had to get my hair cut again because it was growing so quickly and I didn't feel like I had my bob, which I really wanted. I think it's largely down to these vitamins. It's a blend of vitamins and minerals including biotin and selenium and zinc and collagen, and they help to support stronger hair, more thicker looking hair, and they reduce breakage. My hairdresser has given whatever I'm doing the seal of approval. He was like, whatever you are doing, it's working because your hair's in great condition, which is always a lovely thing to hear. And then because I've got this gorgeous fresh start and my hair has had years and years of bleaching, the hair mask, not only does this smell so good, oh my gosh, I love the smell of this so much. It's like a proper hairdresser scent. And this is the Long and Healthy hair mask. I find it so good for the condition of my hair, the hydration, the shine, and I've also just noticed that it helps to protect from the formation of split ends, as well as controlling frizz, strengthening, protecting, and encouraging longer, stronger looking hair. But it's the split end part of that I am like, it's a new start, people. It's a new dawn and a new day. And if you have hair that is damaged by styling or colouring, I would really recommend this. I think on to, okay, I think this might be my favourite, apart from the vitamins. This is the multi-active scalp serum. This supports scalp health and reduces shedding and breakages. I can absolutely attest to that. My hair has definitely been in better condition since I've been using it. And again, visuals as proof are always helpful in reviews like this, so I will pop a picture here. You can see where I've got my hair pulled back, the new fresh baby hairs that are coming through, and I've had so many of them because I've been concentrating this kind of around the front of my hairline, and I've actually noticed a physical difference. And also another thing that gives this a plus in my book is that it doesn't make your hair greasy. I was always scared that scalp serums would weigh my hair down and make it look oily and greasy, but this just doesn't do that at all. It almost feels like putting water in your hair. It feels like nothing, and it definitely doesn't add to any kind of greasiness. It just gives me those like hair growth benefits, which is insane. So good. And then last but by no means least, the hair balm, or its full name, the Hydrating Hair Smoothing Balm. Again, I find this so lightweight. Every time I wash my hair and it's damp, I just do a few pumps of this into my palms, run it through the lengths and ends, and I find that it helps with the shine and the smoothness and the detangling so well. Like, does my hair? I feel like the proof's in the pudding. My condition just looks so gorgeous at the moment, and I've been doing this routine really consistently and solidly. It reduces frizz and helps to keep hair resilient and very soft. Like, I've definitely noticed the softness in my hair since I've been using this. And if you are a vanilla girly, gorgeous. It has fig extract and a vanilla scent to it, so you can add it to your vanilla routine. So if you've been thinking of trying Hairburst, now is actually the perfect time to do it, because they have a buy one get one free offer, which is amazing. And I also have a discount code which I will pop on the screen for you, and that discount code as well as the links will also be in the description box. I'm still thinking about the McGonagall moment. I feel like that's such an iconic moment from her when she's like, protect the seal. It's so good. The last time I had this was when we were in Spain, and they sell it at Whole Foods. I bought like 3 massive bottles of it. I'm so happy. But anyway, we are back in the room. So my therapist has just shed a lot of light on the situation and told me to go home and research trichotillomania. And boy, did I research it. I went on Reddit for the first and only time in my life and fell down this huge rabbit hole of discovering this big community of people who all compulsively and obsessively pick their split ends. I have never felt so seen as when I found this thread before and read through it and realised, okay, I'm not alone. There are other people out there who have this habit that they do as obsessively and compulsively as I do. And I learned so much about it. And one woman described trying to quit her hair picking as more difficult than trying to quit smoking, which I feel like really puts it into perspective. And I came to realise that it's actually a compulsive disorder under, I always get this wrong, body focused repetitive behaviours. So it's BFRB, body focused repetitive behaviours. I always get a letter like jumbled up in there somewhere. And my therapist also mentioned OCD due to some other behaviours and thoughts that I have. And since becoming sober, I can definitely see how some aspects absolutely line up like 100% with OCD as well. I also want to make this super clear. The reason I'm making this video is absolutely not to give any advice or to diagnose anybody else. It's simply me sharing my story in the hopes that it might help somebody else in whatever way. And learning about the condition and finding the thread, it definitely helped me because A, I realised, okay, I'm not alone, other people do this, and B, having a label and a name on it to diagnose did definitely help me be less self-critical and hard on myself when I did engage in those behaviours. However, not feeling alone anymore and having the label didn't actually help me stop doing it in any way. I was still doing it like every single day. And that's probably because of a few reasons, but the biggest reason is absolutely that your girl just had bigger fish to fry. Like, I had alcoholism that needed treating urgently. So in terms of my mental health, alcoholism was like up here, and the fact that I had OCD and this trick issue was just further down the list of things that were more pressing. And it actually took me 3 years into my sobriety to be like, okay, this issue is really eating into my energy, but most of all it's really eating into my time, and I want to do something more concrete about it. I was just like, do you know what, in other areas of my life, when it comes to my mental health, putting action in and being really decisive and doing something that's potentially a little bit more drastic has worked in the past. So why wouldn't it work for this? And I thought to myself, if I cut my hair off to a short enough length that I physically can't pull it, because you need to be able to pull the strands in front of you to like here, for them to be in your eye line, for them to be able to like see the split ends and be able to pull them out. And I was like, if I lop off my hair, I will be actively putting a barrier in between me and these behaviours. And if you have OCD or body focused repetitive behaviours, you'll understand trying to do it through just motivating yourself to be like, okay, don't do it today, don't do it today. Like, it just doesn't always work. And so far this has worked. And I'm so happy to be able to say this is the longest I have ever gone without picking my hair since I was 13 years old, and I'm 32. Like, that is crazy. That's almost 20 years, and it's the first time I haven't done it because I physically can't do it. And it genuinely has been life-changing, not on the same level as getting sober was life-changing. However, I truly think that if I hadn't gotten sober in the first place, like, I just turned 3.5 years sober, and I think that if I hadn't gotten sober in the first place, this probably never would have happened, because my self-worth was just like non-existent, and I wasn't really interested in taking care of myself. And having this body focus thing, you're essentially repeatedly damaging a part of your body obsessively. And now that I'm sober, I am not interested in doing any damage to myself, mentally or physically or otherwise. And I actively want to take care of myself, like on the outside and the inside. I can't even tell you what a breath of fresh air it has been to not engage in this habit anymore. Like, I've got so much of my time back. I'm so much more productive. I don't know if it's linked at all, but I've gained almost 10,000 new Instagram followers since I cut my hair short and stopped this habit. I'm gonna say it, in love with this hairstyle. I think it really suits me, thankfully. Imagine if I didn't like it. But I'm actually really in love with it. I think it's a bit more grown up. I think it's a bit more elegant, it's a little bit more elevated, it's a lot more chic, and it's just made me really happy. It's fun to change your style up, but obviously this went deeper than a style thing. It was more substance than it was style, but it's an added bonus that I actually just really like my hair like this anyway. And this change, which to everybody else is like, oh, she just got a bob, is to my loved ones like, she doesn't do that hair picking thing anymore. Like, obviously my family have noticed for years and years and years, and they'd always be like, leave your hair alone. But it was just never that simple, and I'm so glad that I took the leap to do something a little bit more drastic, and it has really helped me. And on that note, I hope this video has helped someone. I am always so happy. I mean, I did think about this video carefully. I really slept on it for quite a few weeks to make sure I was comfortable sharing, but I'm always happy when I sit down and do these, because I'm okay with being vulnerable if it means that someone else out there feels a little bit less alone and a little bit more seen. So that is my hope for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, it means the world to me, and I will see you in the next one. Lots of love.